Uh, anyone have like before I step in this like horrible quagmire from which nobody comes back and nobody wins? Does anyone like have one of those like useless talents? I have several useless talents, but like my most noteworthy useless talent is I'm good at claw machines. And my son just won like a full and actual Fitbit from a claw machine at the bowling alley. I'm like, my son. Just like sitting in a throne suddenly with pride beaming. Brilliant. So they didn't listen to me and close the door. And I'm going to swear. I'm going to hear Daddy swear. So yeah, it's like the Fitbit Charge. It's probably like the 2 or 3 year old version, but it's still pretty fucking cool, right? So what folks need to understand, like I agree, and I obviously I'm close to it. Adepticon's my backyard. Now I don't actually consider Adepticon a Midwest tournament for what it's worth. Okay, take that however you will, and take that to mean whatever you take it to mean. Now it is staffed by people in the Midwest. Of course, it's going to be. Adepticon is staffed by, like people from across the Midwest and kind of all over the country come to help run the tournaments. They do panels. Like Vince comes over from Ohio to give painting seminars. Like I don't think it's, I guess Ohio's technically the Midwest, but I don't think of it as like a Midwest exclusive or Midwest specifically event. Adepticon is a national convention the way like, yeah, San Diego Comic-Con is in San Diego, but I don't consider San Diego's Comic-Con. That's Comic-Con. That's just the location. Just like I wouldn't consider PAX East to be Boston's PAX. It is in Boston, but it is PAX. Okay? So I want to establish that kind of up front. Now, that can allow you to extrapolate thoughts in any meaningful different ways you want. That is my personal perspective. I don't think it's a Midwest event. Like, it's in the Midwest. It has a lot of Midwest staff because, of course, it's going to be due to proximity. But that's kind of that's kind of it. Okay. Like Gen Con isn't. It's called Gen Con Indy to distinguish it from, like, original Lake Geneva Con. And when it was Gen Con Milwaukee, it was just called Gen Con. You know, like, it's not Indiana's event either, or Indianapolis's event either. It's Gen Con. It's everybody's Gen Con. I view, even though Wizards of the Coast and Paizo and all these companies put very direct sponsorship into that event, it's everybody's, right? Like, anyway. So I've established that. Now, folks need to understand that this toxicity was 6 years in the making. All right, a lot of different like sort of plates that we're spinning here. You have the ITC and the BCP thing, right? Now, I need to say up front, I fucking love Garrett Mulroney, unabashedly, he is a good person. He's a good dude. He does good for this community. To take from your personal time, program an app for the community because you see like, okay, we need something to help people run these tournaments. He doesn't really get much of especially in the beginning, didn't really get much of a kickback, didn't really get much help. He just went out of his way. He made this thing. You know, Frontline picked it up. Frontline Gaming, like, you know, kind of became the main stands of it. ITC, yada yada yada, right? Like, rest is history. He is a great dude. Like legit, this isn't one of those like I'm telling you how great he is to say but and then like make fun of him. No, like he's legitimately awesome. When I did my Black Lives Matter charity thing, right after George Floyd died, because I was so overwhelmed and like a lot of my trauma from my youth came back up, and it was mid 2020. You know, pandemic, and there's a boiling point, and I felt utterly paralyzed, and I didn't know how to help people. I couldn't go march anywhere because I don't live in any city that matters. Like, I couldn't do anything. You know, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to use my platform, I'm going to raise some money for charity. He gave, like, a boatload of money to some charitable causes, and we had a private conversation where he's like, I want to help, but I don't know, like, what to do or where to go. And he's like, but I trust you when you do this stuff, and and you help me figure out, like, what I can do to help. And we have a great conversation. He came on Rantcast, I believe it was 33, talked about LVO. I think that was LVO 2019 was when that was. I actually had all the I had most of the Left Coast Corsairs on. I think I had Alex G, John, Garrett Mulrooney, Jeremy Vasilier joined me later on a later podcast, but I think it was those three. And Garrett talked about how, like, at LVO, he went to play, and I'm like, oh, like, how was like an idiot. I'm like, oh, how was the tournament? How great was it? You can watch the show. It's all, the tapes exist. I didn't know Best Coast Pairings went down for LVO. Not something I care to be angry at or invested in. So I'm like, oh, man, you played in the... He's like, yeah, I went to go play in the tournament. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, so how did the tournament go? I ask him, like a fucking idiot who hasn't done his research, you know, to be the best interviewer he can possibly be. And he's like, I had to drop, like, round 1 because BCP went down, and I spent the whole weekend, like, basically manually programming it and fixing it to keep the event running. And I'm like, that's fucking badass. That's not a strike against Best Coast Pairings. Don't take this way. I know that I'm a Midwesterner. We're supposed to hate ITC. And I have my takes on ITC. Do not get me wrong. I don't like that Games Workshop partnered with ITC. I think it's a fucking mistake, and I can go into that. But this isn't about that. This is about one fucking dude who is a good person, like, could have easily said to the TOs, fucking just write it on paper. Could have easily done that, could have delegated it, could have done any number of things, could have done a stopgap, could have rolled back his servers, he could have done any myriad of troubleshooting or level of ignoring the problem, and he fucking got in the weeds and fucking fixed it in real time. The event was a little bumpy, the tournaments ran a little bit late, but people should respect the human element and go, like, yeah, that's fine. Mistakes happen, servers go down, entropy affects us all, and mistakes happen. And he just got in there and he fucking spent the weekend just grinding and fixing it and making it work so people had a great experience anyway. Not the best experience, not a perfect experience, but a great experience. Years later, nobody remembers that shit going down unless you fucking drudge it up. Right? I remember it because I interviewed him, and I got a story of his absolute humanity and his work ethic. Good guy. But my region has beef with ITC. Apparently. So, like, I have to toe the line between the people I like and respect that do things different from me, but also toe the line for the people that I love that invited me into their community, that are great people that just want to run tournaments and have fun and drink beer and look at sweet models and take pictures of them and, like, have the person wheel by on the bike and they've got, like, Guinness in there and, like, grab the Guinness and laugh and shoot the shit. Like, to me, it is essential that we curate our own experience and we are in charge of our own fate. Nobody's surprised to hear that from me, I know. To me, it is essential that Frontline Gaming, if they want to run ITC, run ITC. If you want to start a Path to Glory campaign and it blows up and you suddenly have like 200 people interested in Path to Glory, it is essential to me that you be able to run that event your way. I'm not saying exclude negativity. We can learn from the bad shit. We should learn from what happened at Adepticon. As the Midwest, as the Midwest Fortress, get at me, bitches. Like, sorry to bust out the misogyny bad word. I just thought it would make it funnier, and I immediately regretted it as I said it, so I apologize. Like, as the Midwest Fortress, get at us. Like, come on. Fight me IRL, you won't. Like, but as the Midwest Fortress, we must showcase how awesome we are and why we do things our way. So we have some mistakes to account for and fix, okay? You won't hear criticism of that. In fact, I have levied my suggestions and criticism at people that, even within our community, because no community is a fucking monolith, disagree with me. This might be my own security, but I do not believe that Domus likes me, okay? I think he chalks it up to the fact that it's just an age thing, but he doesn't like my internet persona, he doesn't like my bombacity, he doesn't like my snarky sense of humor about Games Workshop stuff, he doesn't like that I make fun of battle tomes, or some of that stuff. He just doesn't like my internet persona. He likes me because we're both dirty bleeding hearts, but he doesn't like Mephisto. He likes Andrew. He hates Mephisto, if that makes sense. And here's the thing: is Mephisto's not me. I'm both. I contain multitudes. I'm both. So he doesn't like that part of me. And he asked me. He saw me going to bat for the Midwest. He saw me trying to build bridges, and he said, "Hey," he reached out to me if you got some feedback, I'd love to hear it, type thing. He's like, "I respect what you've been doing these last couple days. If you got some feedback, well," and I'm gonna, I sent him a couple sort of obvious telltale things, and I'm like, these just need to change next year. Notably, transparency. That's the number one thing. I took for granted that the painting rubric wasn't in the tournament pack, because I go to all the Midwest tournaments and it just usually is, and I'm like, it wasn't in it? Fucking weird. I just assumed it was. I know they judged based on a rubric. It was the same sheet from 2019 or 2020 when it got canceled or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, so I know they did that. And people were like, well, they could have just been hand waving and giving people friend points. I'm like, why fucking jump to conspiratorial shit? It's unnecessary. A lot of people can cheat in a lot of different ways. The point is there needs to be the transparent. People need to see the rubric and be able to track where the points came from, right? That's a fucking slam dunk. There's no reason to not do that. And like I said, most of our tournaments have that. I don't know if under time constraints they forgot to include it. If there's some other shit going on that I don't know about. I don't know if it was a mistake or just they thought people would be okay with respecting that they're using a rubric, not have to question the rubric, right? Maybe that's what they thought. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I like I said, I gave some feedback. I don't care for the fucking the rivalry between ITC and the Midwest Fortress. I don't care for it. I will stand my home turf. I love the way we run events. They're awesome. But I also have plans to go out to Nova, and I have plans to head out to the West Coast and sample some of their tournaments. I wish to cross-pollinate these events and enjoy them. I have propositioned before, because one of the reasons people say they kind of resent the Midwest is that they don't know our tournaments are happening, and by the time they find out they are, they're already filled up with people from the Midwest, so they never have an opportunity to come to our tournaments. And I have advocated for whatever relative to the size of the tournament, holding a sort of second wave of registration. If we got 30 spots, you open up 25 of them to first come first serve, and you hold 5 spots for cross-pollination. These ones are for people from the West Coast and the East Coast and internationally who wanted to come but found out via Twitter later when everyone's high-fiving a fucking NASA launch that mission accomplished, that we sold out the event in fucking 20 hours or whatever the shit, right? They have no idea. They see the post 2 days later and they're just oh fuck, I wanted to go to the Midwest Meltdown or whatever, right? I think there's stuff we can do better. But I don't want to change how we run our tournaments. Does that make sense? I like our soft score heavy. For 2 brief hours, I lived in a world where a 4-1 had won a major event over a 5-0. I actually grinned ear to ear. Now, you can disagree with me. You can think soft scores don't belong in a tournament, and that is your prerogative. I respect it. But I loved it. For me, this game is a holistic experience. It is It is the totality. I want to see a Paragon in all ways crush it. I want to see the Adam Trunzos of the world. Emma, who had like all around good sports votes, good paint scores, and great tournament scores. I want to see the best of the best. Fucking Richie from Just Play, like a paragon of all three spheres. Those are the people I want to see like absolutely win big, because the competitive players who are going to reject 4-1 wins of tournaments are already they have the bias in their mind. They're already going to go, oh yeah, but the 5-0-1. They don't need any extra validation. They don't need any extra anything. They know in their mind the 5-0 is the better thing. They know that's the better takeaway. They don't even look at the fucking trophies in the pack. They look at the placements on the list and go, this was the 5-0, this is the 5-0, this is the 5-0, these lists went 4-1. End of story. That's all they care about. And that's fine. But I care about the event and the community. The data's nice. It's a great metric. It's a good measure. It's a good litmus test. It's a good gauge. It's a good heading. It's a good compass. But at the end of the day, it's about the people that go to the thing and do the thing. I want more people to go to the thing, more people to do the thing, more people to cross-pollinate, more people to build consensus and camaraderie and network and have a blast. I don't care for the beef. But like, so I think I've laid my cards on the table there in that respect. I will forever defend any tournament that wants to use ITC or BCP is right to do that, as I will defend our wacky soft score meta. But I would like to posit it a little bit different. Do you think it's easier to win 5-0? Or do you think it's easy to beat every hobbyist in the room and go 4-1? Just openly, philosophically. And to not have all your opponents be salty while you're doing it. Just asking openly. Now, I think there's things, like I said, that could be done better. But it's what I saw that came because this mistake happened. When I got to talk to pretty Alex G, Portland Alex G, Left Coast Corsair Alex G, because like he said some stuff and I know he was defending his boy, you know, and his club and his stuff, but he said some stuff that was just like you know, I'm Midwest, right? Like when you make fun of Midwest, you're saying Mephisto too. So like, well, that's the Midwest for you. Like you might as well be saying that's Mephisto for you, right? You're including a lot of people in something like that. Like I gotta, because I consider him a friend. I want to go to the West Coast to specifically play in a teams event with him. I think I would have a blast. I think we're kind of kindred spirits when it comes to like our sort of, you know, the little slight chip on our shoulder as gamers and the passion and fire we see the world with. We have a different approach vectors to the game, but I don't care about that. Other people do. That's all they define their interactions on Twitter about, is like, does someone agree with you 100% about Warhammer? And that's your prerogative. If that's the only thing you're on Twitter for, if that's the only thing you care about, you wouldn't even have a social media account if it weren't for Warhammer, and so on and so forth. Fine, that's your prerogative. That's not mine. Like, that's not my angle. But I gotta talk to him and be like, hey man, like that was, you know, I felt a little like hurt by that, and, you know, but that's something else. That's not beef. That's not negativity. That's not grandstanding about Adepticon or best cause pairings or whatever it is. Like that has nothing to do with that. That's just like, you said something and it kind of hurt my feelings, man. Like people say shit and hurt each other. I hurt Molly's feelings. She hurts mine. Like we have to talk about it, right? It's just part of being human. But the negativity I saw, like, across the whole community was, quite frankly, something I just... It wasn't that there was negativity. Games Workshop announces anything there's negativity. You know, it's just part of it. It's the binary nature of Twitter. You have a limited amount of characters. The whole platform is designed to elevate negative engagement. And you know, like that's, you're gonna have that. But it got personal, is the thing. It wasn't just Games Workshop sucks lol, or like or Adepticon fucked up lol. It got personal. They started like taking pot shots at people, sniping each other. There's some fucking transphobia memes showing up in Grimdark Live's Discord. Like, fucking hell. Like, just nasty. And I'm sitting there like kind of in the middle, and I'm like, I like a lot of these people who are like throwing haymakers back and forth at each other. And I'm like, it was the first time I had wanted to quit Warhammer. Or Age of Sigmar, I should say. 2 years of like global lockdown and missing my friends and going through a bunch of personal shit. Like I'm like, not Warhammer's still one of my favorite things in the world. Starting my RPG thing, I'd be like, oh, I've got my audience now, I'll just go RPG now. No. You know, I never thought about it. And that was the first time I was like, if people get this ugly over something that could happen to anybody, anywhere, no matter what system you're using, I'm like, what happens if something real happens, right? I don't want to take anything away from Emma's emotions. I told her publicly and on a couple platforms. Anyone can read. I in the open on this, trying to advocate for her, trying to have her back in all this. Even though she's not on. Even my friends ran the tournament, and I'm like, hey, reaching out to you for this stuff, and just trying to like be an ambassador and have some compassion and empathy for her and what she must have went through. To my mind, it's an awful lot like she had like kind of like the best day of her life, got on an airplane for like 3 hours and then landed. You know, imagine like you're in a relationship, you think everything's fine. You know, like you're flying from like East Coast to West Coast, and you're going home, after a business trip. And the person, your significant other, knowing that you're about to be in the sky with your phone on airplane mode, sends a "I'm breaking up with you" text message. And without even waiting for you to get the text message because you're in the air, they go on their Facebook and start talking about how they just broke up with you and how free they are and stuff. And then you like land, and before the text message like kind of catches up, because there's a delay in texting when it gets lost in the ether, right? You check your Facebook because you got like 20 notifications, and you're tagged in them, right? And you see that you've been broken up with publicly on Facebook, right? Horrible feeling to be told one thing, not be told in private, have to find out from your fucking social media feed, and then check the email later, let alone the rope-a-dope of being told you won it all and you got the fucking golden ticket, you're fucking going to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, right? And then you see publicly like, no, actually you're not. I have a well of empathy for Emma. I gave her my personal golden ticket. She is allowed to shit on the Midwest, the TOs, me if she wishes. It is her. She has a golden ticket. Now I don't use this as often as I used to in Rantcast and stuff. But I have a special power. I call it the bubble. I can put things in this bubble. It's actually like up here in this little liminal space. And when I put things in the bubble, they're safe from everything. They're safe from any rant I'm about to go off on. They're safe from any criticism. They're safe. Perfect protection. Emma goes in the bubble up over here. She's safe. She has a free pass to shit on Adepticon, the experience, to be upset forever. I don't care. Like, the people she makes fun of, the tournament scene, all those stuff, they're going to have to reconcile their own emotions on that. I can't white knight for them and go in and shield them and stuff. They got to feel some kind of way. right? Like, I have empathy for my friends. I feel bad for them, too. Even if they weren't my friends, I'd feel bad for them. I don't want anyone to go through shit like this. I'm not sitting there on the sidelines like certain people saying, you're going to fail, 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 you're going to fail. And then after 6 years of not failing, they finally do, and they're going, ha! Ha! Fucking told you so! Fucking told you so! Ha! I don't do that shit. Scumlords do that shit. People like Grimdark Live do that shit. Like, people like every single content creator, and now I'm not gonna name specific names, but they know who the fuck they are. Who said for 6 years, Adepticon, it was a soft meta. Don't take their scores to heart. That's not real Warhammer. People for 6 years who even scrutinized us running the event to fucking begin with, because if you go back long enough, the beef originally started when Alex G, Midwest Alex G, not to be confused with Pretty Alex G / Portland Alex G, Midwest Alex G, who I often call the Alex G on account of proximity, the old world had just been blown up. People were actively showing videos of burning their armies and canceling going to Adepticon. There was no GHB. There was no standard of scoring. There was no anything. And Alex threw together a tournament with this thing that had just existed, and everybody said it was a mistake. Everybody said that they were wrong to do it, that they should still be running the old world game, that we were fucking idiots for liking Age of Sigmar, it was a trash game, and just tearing Alex in the Midwest and Adepticon apart. One whole year of that shit. The next year, same thing. Oh, mistake, blah, blah, fuck this, blah, blah. Following year, we're not using ITC. Shit game, now they're not using ITC. Just rabble. Constantly, every year, every time, telling people that we're gonna fail and we sucked and we shouldn't be running it in the first place. Every year the same shit. And they finally got what they wanted to see, which was us fall on our face at the finish line. They finally got it after 2 years of basically canceling due to a once-in-a-century fucking pandemic, where they had to scramble to get the tournament together and run it because the bad press of canceling it yet one more year was weighted as worse than having to cobble together a tournament real quick with a low amount of staff and venue issues and all manner of other stuff that people fucking hand wave as not a big deal, no problem, that never even factors into their stupid, smooth-brained opinions when they're fucking judging other people who run shit. You want to fucking judge somebody on how they run a fucking tournament? Run a 200-person tournament. Run one. Right now. Fucking do it. I'll find you 200 people. Run it. You tell me how fucking easy it is. And when everyone scrutinizes you for your terrain, for your fucking pack, for anything that they always tee off on every tournament, everywhere, for something. Because if you don't piss off this half of everybody, you piss off that half of everybody. And if you don't piss off either groups of people, people think your tournament's unremarkable. It sucks. Whatever. It's okay. It's just kind of like vanilla. Yeah, it's alright. It's vanilla. And the people who sat there shitting on this tournament, various content creators, various people fucking using the misfortune of what happened to fucking grandstand their own platform, make stupid jokes about fucking people getting hurt so that they can get some fucking likes and subscribes and fucking extra eyeballs on their stupid fucking tweet. Go fuck yourself. Seriously, you're the worst type of person. You go beyond an outrage merchant. You have gone into the territory of a fucking misery leech. You know who you are. So, one person made a mistake. They read a column wrong. It wasn't a software error. They could have read a column wrong on BCP. Now, there is something to be said for transparency and the community catching it first and so on and so forth, right? Sure. Point is, that's what happened. One person read a column wrong. Anyone could read a column wrong. And as somebody who has subordinates and people working under you, you feel responsible for anyone who messes up under you, because if you're a good leader, good leaders take responsibility for people who mess up under them. That's what you do. That's what leadership means. Because a leader should have caught it, or a leader should have hired someone better, or a leader should have made sure that you were in a better headspace to not have it. You didn't have distractions. They should have, whatever it is, more oversight, less oversight, more back rubs, whatever the fuck it is, a leader has to contemplate that stuff, right? A mistake any one of us could have made. At any time, with anything. What matters is that you fix the mistake and learn from it. The mistake got fixed. They're learning from it, I assure you. Now, you can say what people coulda, shoulda, or woulda done if you were there, or if things were different, and so on and so forth. And that's true. But you don't know. You weren't there. I don't know. I wasn't there. I just happened to catch residuals on the T, as it were, because I was supposed to be staffing it this year, and I couldn't because I couldn't find a fucking hotel. Mental health issues, too. But the main one is I thought I had a room. It fell through, and then when things hit the fan in my personal life, I stacked my priorities wrong, and I made a mistake there. Part of me wonders if I were there, if I'd have caught it. Would I have been in charge of the software? Would I have been sitting next to the person who didn't catch the mistake? Don't know. Would the whole building have caught on fire because I comedically trip over a laptop cable and, like, it explodes and then, like, all of Adepticon catches fire? You have no idea. Coulda, woulda, shoulda is bullshit. Stop doing it. It's not fair. It's just not. Like, it's not. You don't know. You weren't there. What you know is what happened. You have a small window of, like, other stuff that happened that you have fucking no clue about, but you know, tournament thing happen, podium get flipped, prize thing problem. Right? Objective, measurable, obvious, happened, empirical, beyond contestation. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, who the fuck cares? What you don't know is that Games Workshop forced the golden ticket on Adepticon to begin with, despite protest. But they were overruled. And then, when the mess up happened, and they said, hey, can you fix this? They said, not our problem, your mistake. We said one ticket, you get one ticket. And then 2 more days of advocacy. 2 more days of Twitter in flames. Games Workshop changed their mind. I'd like to think I personally had a hand in that, because I gave some exact sentences to the people in communication with Games Workshop. But, it's been fixed in every way it possibly could be. Hell, you have double golden tickets now. In fact, it's twice as good as it was before. 2 golden tickets. That is objective. The fuck up doubled the amount of golden tickets. It's twice as good. Adepticon, through a screw-up, is twice as good as an invitational elsewhere right now. Fucking get wrecked, the Midwest is still the best. Now, I actually think the takeaway point from this is, and I'm going to catch you off guard with this one, is Games Workshop needs to stay the fuck away from our tournaments. I don't like that they partnered with ITC, because stuff like this will keep happening. What it does is it sets up a shell game for Games Workshop to take the least amount of responsibility possible, throw the most amount of weight around that they can, and if things go wrong, wash their hands of it and decide if the PR benefits them to fix it or not. It happened with Wizards of the Coast when they bullied Star City Games in the tournament scene for Magic the Gathering. It'll happen every time these fucking companies try to insert themselves into these games. Into the tournament scenes. People think that Games Workshop standardizing the tournaments, monopolizing the tournaments is a good thing. This is that really... this is that line from that really bad movie called Star Wars. I don't remember which one. Where Padme gets up here where where she goes, "This is how democracy dies. Not with a whimper, but to applause." That's what's happening right now. I do not want our tournaments monopolized. The democratization of your free time, your experience, the ability to curate what you love, to go to whatever tournaments you feel like, that's important. That becomes more prohibitive the more assuming direct control happens from Games Workshop. The quality goes down the more that happens. The soul gets sucked out of it. It becomes a robotic experience. Now, some people want that. I can't disagree with you if you want that. That's what you want. Well, I'm sorry. I can disagree with you. I'm not trying to change your mind, though. I'm not telling you, like, if that's what you want, I'm not saying, like, you know, suck an egg. Like, that's what you want. Okay, then you're on the right path. It's not what I want. And I have some thoughts on that. I've been to a future where that happens with other games, and I've come back to tell you that future sucks. That future looks an awful lot like what just happened at Adepticon. Say what you will about transparency, say what you will about soft scores, say what you will about anything. In a broad sense, yeah, if they didn't use soft scores, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But the actual mess up that happened, where podium is wrong, fixed podium, golden ticket on the line, could have happened in any system, top to bottom. And the outcome of Games Workshop having to be convinced by burning all the social capital a bunch of my friends had to get them to fix a mistake that is, in their mind, they didn't want the fucking ticket in the first place. A situation they were put into in the first place because they did it. It's like some fucking dude coming up behind you, throwing you in the pool, everyone going like, "Oh," looking at the person in the pool, "Ha, you're drowning. How'd you get there? You're drowning. Sucks to suck. You should have learned to swim." And then the fucking dude who threw him in the pool in the first place, like going like, "I got this," jumping in, pulling them out the pool to fucking applause. It's bullshit. Did I spill enough tea? Is everyone satisfied? Did that shit get clipped? Am I making a highlight of this? Am I burning my entire platform to the ground because I fucking said all this? Happy birthday to me.